Hi, and welcome to PJ and the Beard. This is our 19 Conversations series. This would be episode 21, An Hour of Distraction, brought to you for whatever reason.
Right. because we need it.
Right, I mean, just because of that. And
You're
I
sitting-
know my picture's going to freeze here in 1 second. Hold on.
You're sitting in on our own therapy session.
I got to fix my camera. The things you're supposed to do before you go live. You always wonder why people don't do that, and then...
Well, for us, we're doing our really in-depth show prep means for a day like today. What are we going to do today?
So, in an hour of distraction, where should we start today? Well, I know that you have something up your sleeve over there, but I had something up my sleeve too.
Okay. I played my hand, so this is going to be a true surprise.
Well, 'cause it's we'll save it. We'll save it.
Oh, I don't care.
I will say this. Thanks to Mr. Wolfgill over there. Oh, I don't know where, but thanks to Pat over there. I'm drinking my coffee with almond milk in it today.
Do you feel healthier as we speak?
He said he picked me up some creamer and asked if I got anything special. I'm like, no, just this brand for vanilla.
Yeah.
He sent me a picture and it was wrong, but it said vanilla and it was the right brand. So I'm like, all right, it's almond milk.
Apparently,
It doesn't taste any different.
Apparently, as much as it could be a conspiracy theory, my finger may have accidentally been over the part that said,
"Oh,
this is almond milk."
I should have had that picture and put it up as something totally irrelevant that has nothing to do with playing guitar.
Well,
But so
it was one of those.
A little bit watching the numbers. There's nobody here yet.
Yeah, it was one of those deals where we had kind of a weird experience on Saturday. Jason and his wife have probably been more sequestered than I have. I seem to be the grocery getter, and so I went to pick up this. There's this local butcher, like a legit local mom and pop shop, if you will, and trying to support local stuff. And Jason and his wife are really good about that. And he's like, oh, they have these chicken breasts on sale or whatever. I'll tell you what, man, I don't know if any of you watched Foghorn Leghorn growing up, but I think that's where they came from. They were ginormous and happened to pull into the place, which will do like a car side delivery. You don't have to touch or talk to anybody or whatever. Leaving the parking lot, and the number popped up. And eventually we talked. I'm like, what's up? He goes, hey, I got some extra honey. I know your mom was looking for honey. I'm like, I just left the meat place. He goes, I'm in the parking lot. So we turned back around and we social distance. We might have gotten a little closer than 6 feet at one point, but he passed me. Yeah, he passed me the honey, which was wiped down for my safety and for my mother's. And then so the way that I asked him, I said, well, I am going to go to the grocery store. What do you need? And that's where the whole creamer debacle apparently happened, where. And he texted me, and I knew something was up because he's like, are you still in line in this particular grocery store for this day? Maybe because it was a Saturday. It was like Walmart on Black Friday shopping. It's the biggest grocery store in our area, probably. And the checkout line was 3 aisles deep. You know how Walmart sometimes blocks it off, makes you go one direction? That's what was happening at the grocery store. And I was 3 aisles deep. And I think... so I wasn't getting out of line to change it, and I didn't realize it was almond milk until after the drop off.
Right.
So, but we decided I'm saving you 5 calories a day. Is that what I'm doing?
Yes, it's 30 calories per serving instead of 35. So to a healthier,
to your health.
Yeah, I appreciate your concern and care.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk clip of the day because we've been doing clip of the day, and so for today, I want to. I don't know. These artists might actually be kind of unknown unless you're kind of deep into the blues. And I don't use that. I mean, there's no pun intended here because I have this DVD called Deep Blues. Wow. So highly recommended. This is really cool. It's kind of like this musical journey through some deep Mississippi blues and stuff, and I'm forgetting who the guy is and we might see him in a clip. I don't know if we're gonna play enough of a clip, But it's like the guitar player from the Eurythmics or something like that goes on this journey, and they go to all these places. They go look at these people, and so there's a lot of people on here that maybe a little bit unknown from that kind of from this for whatever the blues, right? One of the people on here is a guy named Big Jack Johnson. Now, Big Jack Johnson used to tour around a lot, and a good friend of ours that owns Dale's Drum Shop in Harrisburg, which is a class act drum shop. I mean, it's like it's been around for a long time. It's super well known. If you have drummer friends on the East Coast, they probably know about it. But anyway, Dale played with Big Jack Johnson a lot. He would drive back and forth to Mississippi to play down there with him in the juke joints and at the blues festivals, and they toured, I think, in Europe. And so Dale spent a lot of time. Big Jack spent a lot of time in our area. Got to actually be on stage with Big Jack Johnson one time. And let me just tell you, like, the only moment I think that I was ever on stage playing guitar, and I wish I wasn't, because that guy was playing stuff, and it wasn't that he was playing like technical, mind-blowing guitar, but what he was playing was perfect. And you just wanted to not be concentrating on what you were playing. You wanted to just be listening. And so, hey, howdy, BB May popped in.
And I think it's Dave Stewart. He's the guitarist for the Eurythmics. Right?
That might be who's on it. I don't see his name on here. It should be. Yeah, Dave Stewart.
Yeah.
All right. So Big Jack Johnson's on here somewhere. So definitely check that out. If you like, I'm throwing out like 8 rabbit holes out at you. Look up the Jelly Roll Kings. So Big Jack Johnson, Frank Frost, and the other name slips my mind right now. But they had a little like 3-piece band, organ, drums, and guitar, I think, where they called it the Jelly Roll Kings, and they have a CD out called the Jelly Roll Kings, and it's fantastic. Fantastic stuff. Check that out. But I'm going to give you 2 guys off here, 2 clips off of this. The first clip is a guy, and it's funny because I'm going to do, Pat signed me up for the 20 albums that kind of influenced you.
You're welcome.
One of the days coming up, I'm going to do both of these guys. Both of these guys is just like kind of one album. You know, it's a twofer because I can't pick which one. It just got really blurry.
It's not even happy hour.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, that's not fair that you have the Barbara Walters soft lens over there where you look good and I look like this.
It's like, whatever. So the first one, 2 guys that really jumped out, and I might have found them here. I might have known about them before. I think one I knew about before, and the other one I found on the CD. First guy is Junior Kimbrough. Let me share my screen here with you. Share screen. There. You got to hit all these buttons. So just a couple seconds of Junior Kimbrough. So, I mean, this is real. What I love about this is real juke joint stuff right here. And you can tell by the guy's drums, that you do not need pro gear. Right? You don't need pro.
Right.
Here you go. So a little clip of them.
All night long. Well, I heard you. Yeah, I love you. Yeah, I love you. Hope you love me. Yes, I wanna love you. Yes, I wanna love you.
So you can get the deep blues for the rest of that, but yeah.
2 things about that video. You showed me that before, and I think you showed me the moment where that cymbal wound up in that position. Not your typical crash cymbal position. And the other thing is I realized, I didn't realize I had this goal in life, but I have a goal in life. The sign with the stick-on letters with the arrow that lights up, my name has never been on one of those signs before. I think that's a must. That gives you instant credibility.
He something about him. It's that kind of almost Mississippi trance blues or whatever. I mean, these guys can take like a chord and work it all day, all night long. Right. So,
yeah, because he was just like,
right. They sit there, but you look at the people grooving in the place. So I'm going to pull up the other one here, and we'll just take a quick listen to this guy. This is R.L. Burnside. Did I do that right? Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I haven't seen this one before. I'm looking forward to this one.
This is RL. All right, here's RL Burnside.
They might jump along, hang it out on the line. See my jump along, hang it out on the line. Oh, about that, something on my mind. Well, no, been your baby love, but it had to been for you.
All right, so I mean, we're talking deep blues here. I mean, like this is the real, like this is sitting on the back porch, Mississippi. But R.L. Burnside influenced a lot of guys down there. So you take a band like North Mississippi All Stars or something like that, and a lot of other guys that have come out of Mississippi that play maybe some more recognizable kind of rock blues that have roots in that stuff.
Now, the funny thing about that video is I think I've played a gig like that, right? I wanted to be on the other side. That one, I've played enough carnivals and fairs that I believe I've had random gaggle of people on a picnic table kind of looking at me like, oh, that's okay, I think. Matter of fact, too bad Brody's not on this one because played a gig. We're supposed to play a carnival, a local Pennsylvania carnival, and there was a rain date, so they'd switch it. And all they had was like a truck, like an old truck with a wooden flatbed, all as part of the truck. That was our stage. That happened to be the same night as the tractor pull. So if anybody listening to this knows what a tractor pull is, can you imagine a small PA with some acoustic guitars and the tractor pull file shop in the background? So right. I think I've played that gig that was just in that video.
So interesting. BB just said first time I heard R.L. Burnside was North Mississippi All Stars. Yeah, it might have been where I kind of first learned of them too.
You know, I dumb lucked my way into a show. I find myself sometimes in life in positions that I don't deserve to be in, and that there were many people that should be there instead of me. Real quick aside. One of them was I've been on a couple steam engines because my wife works for the railroad. Doesn't really do anything for me, but there's people like in trees along the tracks and kayaks taking pictures of these things, and here I am and don't appreciate what I have. In the early 90s, Eric Johnson's playing a blues festival, right? And so I go to the blues festival, but it turned out to be Buddy Guy, the Alligator All-Stars, Clarence Gatemouth Brown, and a bunch of people that I probably don't remember. And I'm like, holy cow, I think I just walked into blues royalty because I came to hear probably the least blues person. I came to see the Hendrix blues person, and I got to see all of these amazing people. And I think it was not too long after that Clarence Gatemouth passed away. So it was wild.
He'd be a good guy to see, man. There's another guy that... Now, he does play some guitar that's fantastic.
And maybe Junior Wells. I had the T-shirt. That's kind of how I knew I had the T-shirt that had all the names on them, but it would fit me a little bit like a medium right now, so I don't think I have it anymore. But.
Junior Wells is somebody that the whole Buddy Guy Junior Wells thing together is amazing.
Yeah.
There's another CD I think that I posted on my 20. Buddy Guy Junior Wells, Loon and Acoustic or something like that. So anyway, I mean, I thought that those two, like, if you like blues, and you like maybe you're in the muddy water, depending on where you're at, there's different levels, I think, of people's enjoyment of blues, right? You have your guys that like the blues because they like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Joe Bonamassa. You got guys that like go back, dig a little deeper into Buddy Guy, B.B. King, Albert King, Freddie King. Got guys go back a little farther to Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters. Then you got guys that are going all the way back to, whether you're going back to like, Robert Johnson or Mississippi John Hurt or, any of those. I'm just trying to think of some more of the popular ones. But this whole Mississippi thing that's going on where you get into like Big Jack and Junior Kimbrough. Big Jack is probably a little more polished, maybe it's the word.
Mm-hmm.
R.L. Burnside, Junior Kimbrough, those guys, they're down in
a little more raw, right? Like a little,
yeah.
A little like guitars in tune-ish, and they're
right. Well, there's an
album
out with R.L. Burnside. I forget who produced it with him. I think it's called "Wish I Was in Heaven Sitting Down," and there's like some tracks on it that have some samples and stuff like that. It's kind of like modern meets hill country. It's a very interesting album. I really like it. Trying to think who produced that. But the same kind of thing, happened with Muddy Waters when they tried to put effects on his guitars and stuff. I think he hated. I forget what album it is, but there's an album where he has maybe wah pedals and stuff on his album. I think he hated. If memory serves, I could be wrong on that. But anyway, interesting stuff. I mean, it definitely worth, if nothing else, while you have some time to kill sitting at home, maybe you can find that Deep Blues DVD on, I don't know, on whatever streaming service you use, or if it's not there, just probably find the whole thing on YouTube. So,
all right,
cool stuff, I think. So what's next? What are we doing next? While we wait for some people, and there's some people jumping in and watching. Make sure you say hi in the stream. Help direct the conversation a little bit because we're just shooting in the dark with us.
We're just talking to each other. Well, we can go to the pedal. I just want to tell you that if we get enough people joining in, we'll do a bonus clip of the day if you joined in yesterday. But we need more people.
Terrible. So pedal of the day. We'll do this one.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the JHS PG 14.
Yeah, one better, one louder.
Hard to believe people have shoes that size.
Right. And that's both Paul Gilbert and Josh Scott, size 14s.
Right. When we so this is like a overdrive pedal that was developed in conjunction with Paul Gilbert by JHS. When we demoed this pedal, there's volume, mid, tone, and mid frequency. So these 4 pink knobs, and then over here we have drive, and then you have push. And when we demoed this, we kept
juicing the push
up pretty high. Somebody actually gave us a whole bunch of stuff in the comments because you know how YouTubers are. You know how people on YouTube are. If you don't do what they want you to do, they'll let you know about it. And basically called us idiots because we kept pushing that. And there's so much more to the pedal.
Guilty.
But the thing is, when you push, there's a sound in there that I really like.
Yeah. And I think in our defense, not that I need to defend ourselves, we talk about all the time, what does it sound like by the time it travels the 8 feet to where we're sitting, as opposed to the inch or two off of the cone? And in the room, it didn't sound nearly as flubby fuzzy than it did on the recording, right? Because in the room, it was kind of that really, because that push is really affecting the input into the first stage of the amp, right? That's what that knob represents. And we did juice it probably a little bit more than we should, but we didn't hear it. It sounded better in the room than on the recording, I think.
And I like that when you get a fuzz pedal that gets kind of sput.
Right.
It's like you hit the guitar and it's like, ooh, like it had
the amp's like, oh no, not today. Oh.
Right. It kind of like chokes out the attack almost or something.
Yeah. Right.
It has a really cool sound to it. We make no apology for the fact that half the time we're just like, hey, let's just see what it does and turn a camera on. So this is, I mean, it's literally like if you were sitting in the room with us, it's like, hey, let's get together and try out a new pedal. This is what we do on the recording is pretty much what we do. What we do.
Well, and honestly, the way it played out, and this is not that particular pedal, obviously, but the time that we got to interview Josh Scott, the day after our interview was when he was releasing that pedal. And so we knew about it then. And I ended up ordering it from Sweetwater. And even by the time I got it, other than the official like great JHS video about who is Paul Gilbert, I don't even think JHS had even released his videos with Paul Gilbert demoing it out at Sweetwater. There were really, I don't know if there were really any online demos that existed when we first unboxed that thing.
Right.
And so we're just turning knobs. So it was really an unboxing and a quick look. It really wasn't a, here's all the features of the pedal. And, you know, for a guy who probably plays with too much lows, having more than one midsection was kind of like for me trying to figure out where to get the good sound. The other thing that intrigued me about that pedal was, you know, Josh Scott's like, you know, in building this pedal for Paul Gilbert, I accidentally got the Eric Johnson fuzz face into a Marshall sound. And so, you know, that's why we were just kind of twisting knobs to be like, where are all of these sounds? But it's a really versatile pedal. And there are a bunch of demos out there for it now.
Well, I'm thinking if we were to take it, plug it into a live rig and play it with it live, we probably wouldn't have it set up the way we had it set up that
right. Yeah.
But it was good. I mean, it was fun. It sounded good. And like, we're having fun. And that's what it's about. This whole thing is about having fun. So
that is the great part about demoing pedals, right? Because I'm a self-proclaimed Gainiac and a self-proclaimed too much lows, probably not enough mid push in my sound, that it sounds big and great, but sometimes with a band it gets lost. So it's great when you're demoing a pedal by itself out of context because you're just trying to dial up the biggest, fattest sound you can get that may not be the sound you're going to use live. So we don't always, you know, get to the practical settings sometimes with this. So we'll play with each other on the outros of our videos, but outside of that, almost every pedal that we've ever done on the show that we've purchased new was not played in a live context before we did it.
Yeah.
So the settings were more like, how can we make this sound big and bad in the room?
And so, I mean, then it takes a while, like, because there's some that I know we want to come back to, but it takes a while because then I do feel like if you're really going to come back to it and talk about it in a live setting, then it has to get to a live board, be put in place, and then to play it in a live setting. We get to play it in a live setting once a week in typical times. So it takes sometimes a while to get something onto the board and have it there long enough that you feel comfortable coming back and talking about what it sounds like live. That's why the Barber stuff was so easy, right? Like it was easy to talk about the Barber Electronics direct drives because it has been on my board for like 15 years now.
And I think the only
talk about it too much because I found the setting I like and it stays there. But I can say I can plug it into just about any amp and get what I want out of it. So
I think since we've done the show, the only pedal that's made it on the board for me before we demoed it is the one we haven't demoed yet. It's the DLS Tremolo. I had that on my board and played through it for maybe 3 weeks, 3 weeks of Sundays, and maybe a random Tuesday night rehearsal. But Dog Paw, what's up, Dog Paw? There's always one.
I need to move that back in the chair so you can see.
There's always one near me. Of course, this one is like super light. It's my favorite. But yeah, so it's interesting. We're not really official pedal demoers. We've talked before that we gravitated towards pedals because they're
low-hanging fruit.
First of all, we had a lot of our own, and we certainly haven't gone through that whole thing. But then we started getting some for the show because they're at a price point where you can go grab some pedals and do that. But to go and, you know, buy a new guitar every month or one, you know, to do demos other than the Tajima and the Firefly and the Harley Benton, you're not going out and buying that. So we've been a little pedal heavy on our show, which is a nice teaser for Thursday. Part of the reason we've been pedal heavy is because we do enjoy Love Pedal, and Sebastian Falvo, who does most of the demos for Love Pedal, is coming on with us on Thursday. Fantastic player, and I said yesterday we can't wait to get him on the show so we can tell him how much we like him and hate him at the same time because, like I said yesterday, he and his gold Les Paul have made us spend quite a bit of money at Love Pedal. Most of them during the big sales, but still, we have a slew of pedals, and we have him to thank for it.
Help us out a little bit, Sebastian. Stop making sounds.
Yeah, please. And even though he plays it with the same gold Les Paul and sometimes plays the same general genre, it's still like, that sounds great.
So, what was that, pedal of the day?
Yep. It sure was.
I was thinking we could start a new segment.
Okay.
We could start like guitar accessory of the day.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I was going to share 2 guitar accessories with you, potential guitar accessories.
Which one do I have?
One is really simple. You could just go out to the potentially go out to your garage and get your toolbox and grab something that looks like that.
Oh yes, right.
The guitar accessory of the day. Little pair of like wire clippers, or you could order something from Planet Waves. So if you are lazy and don't, because people were surprised yesterday. We're ragging on PJ and his having all of his strings hang off his guitar yesterday.
And it's the only guitar that has that. And anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I just say it. People were surprised that you let those strings like that. I'm not surprised you let them like that. I was surprised you took the time to change them.
Listen, I'll tell you what's even sadder is they were left like that. And when I closed the case, it's not a rectangular case. It's more of a shaped case. The strings were poking out of the case. It was like, what was there, like a fire? Did someone run in the house and I had to put it away, or what happened?
This is a Planet Wave string winder.
Mm-hmm. I do have one of those somewhere.
That opens up and has a little clipper there on the end for you.
You know, what's funny is we didn't talk about that before we went on the air, but look what I got. But see, I have the needle nose ones. Those with the little nubby nose are even better because this you got to get nice. Get next to the post and try to twist it and yeah.
All right. I thought about 2. For the dog paw, we had all those PRSs that we were showing the other day. And I don't think Pat and I we don't own any of, I think, what people would call like the Dr. Lawyer guitars, right? Where you've spent like $5,000-$6,000 on this high-end guitar that you're afraid to play because you don't want to scratch it. So most of the stuff we have is working guitars. There's some that are a little more expensive. The PRSs are a little more expensive. Most of those bought used. I think all of our guitars were bought used. I have a couple. I think the red PRS and I have a Strat that were bought brand new. And they're the first 2 that I bought, and then after that, everything has been kind of used. So we like guitars with interesting stories. So I thought, let's show a guitar that has an interesting story and didn't cost anything.
That's even better.
Right. So this thing. So we did a field trip to Ray Santana's house. So if you go back and you look in the archives, there's a field trip to Ray's house. And Ray has been a longtime friend at the Blues Society, for years. We go way back. And one time he showed up at the Blues Jam. He had this hard shell case. He sat down and said, "Look, somebody gave me this guitar. I thought of you. I want you to have it. You could use it for slide." And I thought it was a really nice gesture. So this guitar has stuck around all these years because he gave it to me, and it just has that sentimental value. But here it is. We got a 335 type, right? 4 knobs, 3-way toggle, 2 single coils, and that is, from all I can tell, that's stock, that crazy setup right there. Came with the sticker. It is a Vox. Made in Italy. Lots of. I don't know if I can get that on there. Maybe I shouldn't have it plugged in. You can see all the checking on it. I don't know a whole lot about it. I do wonder. BB Made would probably know.
He did just jump in.
The top of that, it almost looks like it's caving in a little bit. But the more I look at it, I just don't know if it actually is. Let me blow that up. That might have been just the way it came. Like I said, lots of finish checking on it.
Yeah, he did steal that from Alvin Lee, so Alvin Lee had to get a Music Man signature because someone stole his other guitar.
It was a good idea to play like open G slide on it. The problem is those pickups. Oh my gosh, they. Oh, I turned that amp back on. No, it doesn't matter. To the camera, it looks like it's caving in a little bit, especially around the neck. Yeah, that's where I was thinking too. Now, interesting. I always thought it had a block. It doesn't have a block. It almost feels like there's just two little wooden rails running down on either side of the pickup. So I think it's pretty much total hollow body. Actually plays pretty nice. Could probably use a little bit of a setup. These are impossible. You plug those into an amp and turn it up to any volume. It feeds back. I mean, I like a hollow body that will feed. Like if you let go, I like when you have to tame. This is untameable.
Yeah.
So
you don't even think even Joe Exotic could tame that wild animal? That rear pickup seems like it's super close to the bridge. Like it's right next to it, right? Almost touching.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of output coming out of it now, which I don't remember that being the case. So I don't know if maybe it is. That's interesting too. I guess there's 2 screws missing out of the top of that. You know, every now and then I have these moments of, what if I would switch out and put 2 like Strat pickups in there or something like that? Would BB Made do the pickups how? Yeah, the pickups like just if you have it turned up at all, it feeds back terribly. But
it's loud acoustically because it does have that very bright hollow sound to it.
And the strings are pretty old on it, but it's not bad. Like a lot of times, the times I do play it, a lot of times is without an amp, just like sitting on the couch or something. It's not bad. It has a cool look to it. I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm.
My wife wishes I would peel the sticker off, but I was kind of like, that's the way it came. You know, you can't mess that up.
It has binding on around the front and the back. You turn it sideways. Is it like with the old tellies? Yeah, nice. Yeah. Guess it would kind of have to as a hollow body, right? Held together.
But yeah, I mean, I never really noticed that that's a full kind of hollow body thing. It's not. Missing screws loose. Is it my signature model? Yes. I think it might be.
How funny would it be if we got Beard to make you a guitar and left some of the screws out? Let's do it.
So that's the Fox hollow body. I like those. I like cheap guitars.
I like them if they stay in tune, right? That's part of the problem sometimes with those. I'm even okay with kind of some low output quirky pickups or whatever. It's just when the tuning won't work. And in my mind, that's where my mind goes with cheap guitars. But I do like them. Like, you know, some of the, well, they weren't they're cheap now, or were cheaper in the day. But back like some of the old Silvertones and some of the when Dan Electro sort of resurged back in the early '90s or whatever, those were kind of cool.
Pete says made it as a cheap hollow body was filled it with space filler foam.
That is one way to do it.
Yeah, that would. Maybe that would keep it from caving in too.
Yeah, it's a win-win. It'll be like that concrete lifting thing. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, there we go.
Yeah. It does look like it's caving a little bit. And I can't imagine that it's worth anything.
Well, I was going to ask you, I'm assuming it doesn't have a model readily available, or like even is there a sticker in one of the F holes that says anything? Of course, you're welcome for that, but in the darkness of the cavernous.
No, because I think I've looked trying to find. There's a number on the neck plate.
Well, if you wanted to go down a reverb rabbit hole today, that would be Vox Hollow Body.
What did the tuners say?
I thought that was a joke.
No, they've been replaced. They say George. They're Washburn tuners on it. Never noticed that, but they've been replaced. Let's do it. Let's RL Birdside. Let's get rid of RL.
Later, bro.
Reverb. If anybody can join the hunt. So
It'll almost be like the Trogley show.
Hollow body. Well, so this is interesting. That same kind of pickup configuration.
Yeah, single pickup, right? Yeah.
Single pickup with that kind of cutout pick guard around it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that is a 1967 Vox Tornado for $9.99. I don't know if I buy that. What's this? That's a little closer. That looks like it has some kind of
Filtertronish kind of deals.
Yeah, and then what the heck is this?
It's it's the screws that were missing in the one you have.
Right. Look at that nice crack around the side.
Nice. Bolt on.
Dogpaw's about to go to Walmart. He's getting on his fatigues and hazmat gear.
Nice. Go pick up a Daisy Rock. Not a Daisy Rock. What are the guitars? The cheap guitars? First Act.
First Act.
Matter of fact, put on your fatigues and then video yourself playing a First Act in the aisle. That'd be great.
I'm not seeing.
What's the one in the case on the right there?
Right here?
The red one. That? That's a Baldwin. It's not even a Vox, is it?
No. This looks.
Well, the first one definitely had the same. Well, those are the same type of pickups.
Yeah, I mean that here the pickups are right.
Yeah.
It has a Bigsby, which this one doesn't have, but I don't know.
So,
is that Bigsby original?
Man, that's a lot of pressure to put on a fully hollow body guitar, isn't it? Where's the same? Made in what?
Made in Italy by Vox. So that headstock, the back of that headstock is exactly like the one that's here.
So this is the Lynx, right?
The neck plate's exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, how's that number compared to your number?
I got 272637.
So yours is potentially older. All right, Dogpaw. Cover your face.
Yeah.
Dress like John Cusack.
Hey, Brad Miller. Brad's been lurking.
Guitar Hack's here, too. Hey, what's up, Hack?
So
we're trying to see if we can figure out. Jason just pulled out an old Vox guitar that was given to him, and we were trying to figure out what it was. So,
I mean, that the pickups, the bridge is different. The bridge is much different. Mine doesn't have a Bigsby. The knobs, I would say the knobs have been replaced on that one because these still have like little V's for Vox on it.
mm-hmm.
The pick guard on mine is going, but the pickup configuration, that's the same. The hollow body thing looks the same. What do they say about it? Has some replacement parts.
There you go.
Bigsby is added.
There you go.
Plug holes in the old tailpiece. There's some finish cracking. Everything is stable. Extra $50 for a chipboard case. Acoustic case. Well, that guy's being generous. I mean, I don't know. $622?
I know, because I feel like we're on Antiques Roadshow because we called in the expert BB Made, and he said it would be valued between $300 and $500, which is 100% profit for Jason at this point.
Well, the problem is it has no value. This is the thing,
No.
Right now, it has no value. It might have value to my wife someday after I kick the bucket, but it has no value right now because I'm not going to sell it because it was a gift, although it's a gift that does take up room sometimes. But there's that sentimental value to it. So that's a Vox Lynx.
That's what I would say that's probably what you're
like Google and typed Vox Lynx.
BB Made, that's funny, man, because I think I saw something kind of unofficial-ish from Josh Scott saying his life goal is to be one of the experts called in on Antiques Roadshow for pedals. It might have been when he was talking about all of the fuzz pedals when he was in England. But
Right there's pretty close, right? Except it still has that different bridge.
right.
It sold for $1,299. What?
I feel like the caving in top's going to be the downfall.
You can't really tell.
Right.
I mean, it's been like that since I got it. It hasn't moved since I got it, and I've had it probably 10 or 15 years. So
It's interesting because they're all, coming up the Lynx. The name Lynx is pretty consistent. Is that Mark Agnesi?
it does. I mean, like I said, it doesn't play bad. I just don't think it's. That looks pretty close too.
That's even closer to the actual bridge, right?
Well, the tailpiece, but the bridge. Oh, I can see that.
Okay.
I'd say the tailpiece looks right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's original or maybe somebody swapped out that bridge. Bridge is weird. But anyway.
BB Made's basically, making the case for you find the right buyer. But again, it's the sentimental. We talked about that, right? Like
Right.
Stories behind guitars, sentimentality of them, and yeah, I understand why that one would have to stay, at least for a while.
Yeah, and it would take talking to now that is really blurry, but that bridge no, it looks like it has that wood piece underneath of it.
You're not sharing anymore, screen wise.
Oh. Well, I never said I was good at this.
No, just looks like a popular thing to do was to put a Bigsby on, right? I mean, because the one said it was added. That's a cool looking guitar for sure. And you don't see a lot of Vox guitars.
Yeah, I like the headstock on it too. I mean, I like the way they put Vox in the headstock.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of recessed a little bit.
Right.
I do like that. I think it's cool. You know, I almost wonder if there was like a piece of wood at one point underneath of that bridge, because the top of the bridge looks fairly similar. The side does, but then it has like that piece of wood. And I don't know. We'll stop talking about this here. But just real quick, when you look at that bridge right here, see that big gap underneath of it?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I guess there could have been like a piece of wood sitting underneath of that at one point. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So,
but it caved in further up, so you think it might have gone up towards the neck joint, maybe like a block under both pickups. That'd be a question.
No, I'm talking about. Look at the picture here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it back up. See that? Can you see that like little piece of wood sticking out underneath the bridge?
Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah. Yep.
Right.
I see.
And again, I'm with BB. To me, it looks like it's maybe caving in a little bit, but I'm not like 100% sure. There's definitely some finish cracking there. There's definitely, there's like some checking there, but there's checking everywhere. So it's not like it just checked there. And like I said, it's been like that for. But if there was a guy out there that loved these guitars and wanted like the stock pickups in it and wanted one that played well, this, with the exception maybe of that, if that is a problem, this is pretty clean. It's pretty clean. It has different tuners on it, but
yeah. So if I had to guess, it's a late '60s Lynx, right? Based on what we've looked at, and that serial number was lower than the other one. If it's if it's in that same line. But, yeah, heck, it is.
Feels like it's sticking up a little higher on that side than that side, so maybe it is doing maybe a little wonkery is going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, heck, it is a great color. When I first connected with Jason today, he was holding that in his hand, but I couldn't see the headstock, and I didn't see the sticker on it either. I'm like, what is he playing there? Yeah, it's a great color.
It's cool. But, I mean, there's, to me, and so we've talked about this so many times, so people have stories, like when you have a guitar that has a good story, right? And so that's a good story, literally, because at the Blues Jam, all the musicians would, like, hang out outside. This is at the point where it had moved from its original location to a place called the 40 and 8, which was, I don't know. It was kind of like a club, I guess. They opened it up on that night of the Blues Jam. But the musicians would hang outside. They had like an outside area where they had like a pavilion that we would do the Blues Society picnics at the pavilion and stuff. So it was out in the woods. It was this big open area. And so you'd end up outside talking to other musicians as much as you would inside playing. And I just remember hanging out. I was sitting on the edge of a picnic table, and Ray walked over and just threw that case up. And the case is really nice. The case is probably more valuable than the guitar. Threw it up on the thing and was like, I want you to have it. I think it would be cool for maybe open tuning slides. You slide it during your gigs or whatever. And I did try to honor that. I took it to a couple gigs, had it tuned up in an open tuning and tried to play. And it just was like, I mean, you couldn't kick your hand off it for a minute without it just going into screeching feedback. And so they kind of, I got we used to call the bass player the brow, I was considerably younger than the drummer and bass player I played with, and they played together since they were in high school. And when I would do stupid things, he would just
see. Maybe Pete's mate that filled it with the space filler foam was maybe onto something.
Right. So,
yeah, Ray's a generous guy, a really great guy. You should go look up the videos that we did with him. Ray Santana.
My profile picture on Facebook is that guitar he has that I love. Let me show you. Let me just. We're almost out of time. It's almost been an hour. I don't know how we just talked for an hour, but
that's my gift. We told you this was just like the Seinfeld show. let's get together. What are we gonna do? I'm gonna do a show about nothing.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be except ours is an hour long. Seinfeld is only 30 minutes long.
This is actually that night we were filming over at Ray's, and this guitar is hanging on his wall. Talk about guitars with a cool story. It's made. Does it say here?
I don't remember. Was it built for a museum or something? Am I making that up?
I'm trying to remember what the name of the builder is. I'd have to look up the name of the builder. But he worked for Alembic. All right, so Alembic made like some of the Grateful Dead guitars, and there was something in there. They made the preamp that was in Jerry's guitar. This guy worked for them. This guitar was made for a museum, was made for an art show, was made for an art show, and somehow made its way. I think it was made in California. Somehow made its way all the way to like New York, where Ray bought it. It's an interesting guitar. It's really pretty. I don't know. BBC could have the pickups potted, wax potted. I think I'd like to just change the pick. If I were ever going to use it, I'd change the pickups. I think they don't sound that good anyway. Anyway. Yeah, still trying to talk Ray out of that one.
Yeah, that night, like if you'd have walked out with that, and I'd have walked out with his PRS hollow body that had been changed out with the Lawler Charlie Christians, it would have been even a better night than it actually was, because it was a fantastic night.
Yeah, hanging out with him was really cool. He did say that night he was thinking about how much he plays it and how much I like it or something. I got the feeling he was getting ready to give me an offer on it, but I'm not going to push him in that direction. I want him to hang on to his stuff as long as he wants it.
Right.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy. So, no comments on that one, though. People like that. I think everybody's got bored with us and left. That's what it is. So, with that, I think maybe you think Pat.
Yeah, I mean, I we've got some other irons in the fire. We had some conversation about like, wait, if we don't have guests, should we still do it? And our answer is yes. So. But we do have, again, Thursday, Sebastian Falvo, fantastic guitar player, does a lot of demos for Love Pedal. Going to have him on. We've got a couple people that are like, have said yes. It's just a case of getting them into the right time slot that works for them.
Yeah, BB made the guy that built it. He still builds guitars, but he did work for Alembic for a while. I don't know what it is about that guitar I like so much, but I do.
Jerry Garcia.
Yeah, but it's not really Jerry. I mean, I don't know. Had those weird switches on it and stuff. Ray said it has a pair of McCarty pickups in it too, but I'm looking at those pickups and I'm not. McCarty pickups were covered unless he took the covers off, but I can't imagine they were black and white like that underneath.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, we're running too, man. You have a great day. See you, BB. So yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, and maybe we'll pull the proverbial rabbit out of the hat, and there'll be someone in the third square. We don't know, but if not, we will definitely be here. We get enough viewers.
You'll trim your strings.
We'll do it. Get rid of that right there. I think maybe I'll put it in the case like it was, and you'll see just how pathetic it was with those strings actually poking outside the case. That is not my MO, but that is unfortunately how I'm going to be known from now on. So, yeah. So anyway, thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for you who joined in, and we'll keep promoting Hack 2 Thursday night. David Barber, 8 o'clock. And with that, I'm PJ on behalf of the Beard, reminding you no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.
All right. Have a good one. Michael Dolan guitar.
Michael Dolan. We trim the beard.